What's up, guys? Knight here, Ninja on the Ninja on YouTube, of course. Knight is my StarCraft 2 name. Basically, I'm going to be making a video today. It's basically another F the meta, but this time I'm going to prove why the meta sucks, okay? I wrote down a lot of stuff, let me show you. I wrote down a lot of stuff, okay? So I'm going to read this. I might throw some improv in there too, but I'm going to read it, okay? Now this is legit. Alright, this is legitimately me proving why the meta sucks. Okay? Legit. Scientifically, mathematically, intellectually. Alright? That's what I do. I don't have a lot of physical, ability because of my disability, but mentally I'm fucking developed. Okay? So I'm just gonna read it to you. Hey guys, said I'll be posting another F the meta video, but this time I have proof. This video basically proves what I said about the meta game and why people complain that any type of regression is all in and why they lose for it. First off, the meta sucks butt. It turns our players into crap and makes us all unskilled in the strategy that is StarCraft 2. Before I get into it, watch this video by Number Phil. It's called Politics and Numbers. Watch this video right now. Not kidding. Go to here if you can read that. I don't know, the image isn't exactly perfect, but go to that, or just type in Politics and Numbers by Number Phil and then look for this video. This is about how it starts, okay? So check that out. Are you there? Go! Alright, so if I'm starting to talk now and you're watching the video, you should have paused this video first. Okay, so alright, good. Now that you watched that, in short, he mentions that political stance makes people wrong in math. Basically, what I related to that is something I call bias. This is something I had to deal with my friends. Like, my friends had a lot of bias with me, but about everything. Not just video games, so I know it well, okay? This bias directly relates to the metagame and my friends, okay? So, let me explain with some detail. We'll start with my friends. They are the type of people to be absorbed by the meta and be influenced by bias. They were always saying I was wrong about anything, but they only said it as long as one of the ones they had bias with said it first. If it was one-on-one, I was right, but bias made me wrong because it was 1 versus 2. This is the same for video games. The masses is that 1 versus 2 bias. Myself, I am on my own, at least until I start playing more and become a GM as well. Then, my word will be valid because it will be a GM versus 2. Sadly, only until then will I be heard, or once people notice me and start listening, will that be the case. I'm actually quite smart, alright? To be great in StarCraft 2 actually doesn't take much. All you need to do is be able to think on your own and answer, why? Everything StarCraft 2 is why. Why? Why do you think they check replays? To answer that why, okay? So remember that. Remember that. If anything that I want you to take from this is the ability to ask and answer why, okay? My friends are much like those people who lose to a 9 pool. The masses. Everybody loses to a 9 pool. Or those guys who lose to 8 Marines. Okay? And just to prove a point, there's a Code S player that lost to 12 roaches. Literally, 12 roaches showed up and he died. They would lose to that, my friends. So with the masses, my friends directly relate to the masses. They lose because they cannot think on their own. They never try to ask and answer why. I can. I would never lose to those attacks. As much as that should mean, that was never enough because of bias. I'm platinum, so no one cares. They don't realize that in StarCraft. They don't realize StarCraft 2 is a strategy. Knowing why is everything. Okay. We could talk about anything. I was wrong, but yet when I went to teachers and professors and spoke the exact things I spoke before, I was suddenly right. People with credibility proved me right with no bias. The credibility being the ability to answer why. Then when I told my friends, this is how stubborn they are, then when I told my friends that the teacher I spoke to agreed with me, they said the teacher must have been an idiot or he got his degree by accident. True story. I'm not even kidding. They are the masses. They were so biased, they refused to believe anything. Those teachers and professors are people who are also open-minded, like myself. Okay? We ask why, we answer why. That's all we do. That's better than what you do. Okay? They couldn't accept that. Not so much the teachers were right, but the fact I was right and the teachers agreed. These teachers are our GMs in society. They are our GMs of StarCraft 2. And my friends are the meta masses. Remember. In video games, it was no different. Common players call me a cheeser, someone who just all-ins every game. But a real GM would follow my word without a doubt because they can think outside the meta. That all-in that you just lost to, they would hold it and call it a pressure. That's the difference, okay? They would evaluate and ask why, answer the question, and hold. In fact, it was those players who invented proxy buildings. These are punishments, a way to punish the ignorant from thinking they can free expand till 3 hatches. The best players can stop that. The worst players cry and moan and just lose. Alright, that's the meta masses, okay? To further prove something, remember Day 9? Remember Artosis? I don't like the fact that they teach people. Reason why, I hate how we have people like Artosis and Day 9 guiding our youth because they also believe in following the meta. Basically, if a Y comes up, they wait for the best player in the world to tell them. This is not what you want new players to be doing because no one's going to get anywhere by copying the best guy, okay? This is why meta sucks, and this video is going to prove it all, if I haven't already. Alright? So remember that. Everyone's copying everybody else, and everybody's copying this one guy. This is why the same 10 people are in the GM pool every fucking time, because everyone's copying them. No one's actually learning anything new. And when something new does happen, it was one of them that thought of it. And all they're doing is the same crap over and over again anyways. You know what I mean? I invent shit all the time. 3 months later, oh, somebody else did it. Oh, let's all do that now. So now the meta picks it up, you know? But that's me. Call me a liar or whatever, but I'm proving to you right now why the meta sucks. So, Anyways, I hope you watched the video by now that I brought up before. And remember, the best thing about these people, them being scientists and mathematicians, is the fact that they ask and answer why. So let's get into it, shall we? Here's the problem. These players decided, before they knew what the game even was, how to play the game. Because they copied Day 9 and Artosis and all the top players in the world. They don't know what to do. They're just copying somebody. Okay. So now, people who learn differently are all cheesers. Myself, I didn't learn from anybody. I picked the game up and ran with it. Nobody comes by to watch me play because I look like a scrub who doesn't have 3 bases yet. Because I don't follow the meta. But yet, I'm beating people that do. You know what I mean? And the reason why I'm not Grandmaster is because I don't play enough. That's it. Like, I make little mistakes here and there, little technical difficulties. Also, I'm disabled. So I lose my mouse, and then suddenly my army's dead. You know, stuff like that. But yeah. Let's see. Where was I? So they lose to people who learn differently are all cheesers. Oh, okay, where was I? So now people who learn differently are all cheesers, and I covered that. So people who take a step away from the meta are cheesers, because all you know is the meta, you think meta is all that is allowed, and so you bitch when people who don't play the meta don't play the meta. Well, I don't know. Here's the problem. These players decided, before they knew what the game was, how to play the game. So now people who learn differently are all cheesers. I learned on my own. People who take a step away from the meta are cheesers, like me. I don't follow the meta. I'm a cheeser. Because all you know is meta, you think meta is all that is allowed. Well, honey, it's not. That's just all you know and how to prevent. Top players can stop me. Top players can. But you don't know how, and you just call me a cheeser. You are a meta whore, and this is the problem. This is why none of you will ever be Grandmasters. Why none of the Masters will never be Grandmasters. Why none of the Grandmasters will ever be Code S. Because everyone's copying somebody else. And there's just someone's more efficient at, you know, copying them or have a hands-on approach. You know, like I can actually play the guy. You know. But an example, this is why most servers complain about Protoss and how they cannot be scouted. Okay? Common thing. Because basically, they want to have 3 bases up and running before they even try to scout, instead of actually sending that early worker that every other race sends. It is your own greed that forbids you from scouting. Level of playing means nothing when your ignorance blinds you from a simple fix. Real quick, personally, if it was a 2-player map, 2-spawn map, I send a worker as every race, any race. I play random, because I need to know if this Zerg is going to 9-pool me. I don't just bitch and moan that I lost because he 9-pooled and I was too greedy and he cheesed me with that 9-pool. I scout it and I win anyways. I don't follow the meta. That's it. I don't follow the meta. That's literally my trick. I don't follow the meta. I ask why for myself and I answer why for myself. You guys follow the meta, so you don't ask why or answer why. You're just like, what the hell, cheeser, and then leave. There's nothing wrong with Zerg. The fact is, you're just too damn greedy and blindly following the meta. Stop it. This greed actually came from top players getting away with greed. So now it is expected from one another, from everybody. And since you guys follow the top players, now everyone expects to get away with greed. I don't do that. But then again, I beat players with 8 Marines. Remember, plat or not, this is where the bulk of the world sits. And these are the players that I am better than. Simply because I think on my own accord. Nothing more, nothing less. And remember, I am disabled. I might never break GM or silver for that matter because of that. But that is my excuse. Yours is you have no cognitive. I think that's the word. I have basically been saying, go learn the game forever. Learn the game. Don't just copy somebody. Learn the game. Learn the game. Start from nothing and move forward. Do not just pick up where someone told you. You know, don't just go like, okay, 3 bases, now start playing. Don't do that. Okay? Learn the game. Because if you don't, that is where you get people blindly following the meta, and then you get my F the meta video results. It's people just flat out losing because I cheesed them. So how does this video relate? So how does this video and the meta relate? In the video, he mentioned that 80% of the people were right about a math problem, but the second it went against a political stance, no matter how professional they were, they ended up wrong. This is bias. Remember how I brought up bias earlier? This is it. Same idea in StarCraft 2. As long as everyone plays the meta, we're all fine and dandy, but the second someone steps out of line, the cheeser beats the meta player cold and hard, or they are proven wrong. Or they are proven wrong, right? So they are proven wrong as in the little problem that he gave them, right? Basically, he gave numbers, and then they swapped the numbers, and then they're wrong. Basically, the mathematician is now wrong because he gave in to bias, basically. Gave in to meta. You are now wrong. You're now lost because you follow this blindly. That's how they relate. Okay. This is why you get the same people in every Code S. Every big tournament involves the same faces because people have no legit idea how to play the game, minus a select few. Teams are people who test ideas and put them to the test. Much like peer review in science and math, there is nothing a mathematician loves more than proving another mathematician's work wrong. Much like the internet. In StarCraft 2, not many people try to prove anything wrong. They just blindly copy and obey. And people that are different, they outcast. But for this game to grow, we all need to punish one another's builds and not just agree with them and act like this has to exist to play, because it doesn't. Remember, it's all about the why. Being good at this game means you are ready for anything, not turning a 1 base all in into a 3 base all in. Because you guys think that's the meta. Okay, it's 3 base all in. Oh, you win 1 base all in, you fucking cheeser. I leave. Oh, 3 base all in. Fuck, I didn't win. I leave. You know, that's what people are doing. It's not. They're learning it wrong. People don't get it. This is basically why this happens. Okay. All you are doing is doing an all-in 1 base, but with an all-in 3 base macro build and hiding behind the ignorance that is the meta. If I tried to attack a GM with a poke, all I would do is damage them, because they understand the why and would be ready, whereas someone like you would just lose and say, fuck you, cheeser, and leave. So before, 80% of you were playing the game right, because you were playing to find out why and you were really learning. Whereas now, people follow the meta blindly and have no idea how to play. They decided what to do before they knew if it would work or not, and they lose. Or, the enemy is also playing the blind meta, and you both learn nothing and lose later to a player that actually knows how to punish you, and force you to step out of that kind of meta. You know what I mean? and that player being MC or me, is for examples, okay? Because they don't just, bases all day. They actually, harass and they poke and they play aggressive. I do that with all my races, okay? So I'm probably the first person in the world, to be quite frank with you, I'm probably the only person in this world, the first person in the world to play so aggro and not all in with every race. Because of that, you're left with 40% because the other 40% lost to the poke that I gave and never understood why they lost. They just blindly followed the meta and got punished and scraped for it, whereas a Grandmaster survived the poke. Another thing he mentioned is that if someone comes up with something you don't agree with, it appears as a miss, right? That can't be right. So now you look into it further. That can't be right. Let's figure this out. Whereas if something goes along with something you agree with already, you just agree and move on. Yeah, I like ice cream, fuck it. And you just, you go with it, but you end up losing. You move on. Another reason why the meta sucks and following the meta will never make a great player, because everyone blindly agrees. Everyone blindly agrees. No one questions anything. I question everything. I'll agree with something and question it. But that's me. But anyways, that's why we have the same players at the top. Because no one agrees to anything else. Or everyone agrees to everything else and no one questions anything. Okay? Anyways, that's it. Again, I apologize for it being long. But this is legit. This is legitimately why the meta sucks. Okay? Spread this around. Go learn the game. Stop being biased. Stop blindly following people. Stop looking to Artosis and Day 9 for tips, because all they're doing is looking at the top players' games for tips. They're not exactly the best minds out there. They were once upon a time, possibly, but they're not. You know what I mean? You might have the best mind out there, but you're just not allowing yourself to develop and are just copying the same shit that they're doing, thus getting you nowhere. You know what I mean? And that's why StarCraft 2 right now is going to hell. Because no one's getting anywhere and the game's getting old. Whereas League of Legends, it's 5 people on a team, and there's teams everywhere because there's no one way to skin a cat. Whereas in StarCraft 2, there's only one way to skin that cat. Anyways, thanks for watching. A little bit for anybody that's of the older clique, like the older society, like myself. I'm a little older than most kids out there. Imagine everything that I just told you about, but imagine that field in the field of presidency, and votes for presidency, and votes for anything like bills, and just anything as far as political goes, like political science, all that stuff. Okay, imagine all of that. And how bias can influence you, and how they can actually manipulate you into voting for something you didn't originally want. Alright? That's just kind of something to throw out there. It's kind of scary to think about it. It's disgusting. It truly is. Peace.